Hello, Nathan. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. How are you?
Not bad. I'm running a little short of time now. I thought we were going to start earlier, so I got about a half hour.
Okay, we can get it wrapped up pretty quick. Right,
Is
welcome
Spencer
to
joining
show,
us?
everyone.
Is Spencer going to join us?
I don't know. I've tried to contact him. Let me go straight. Give me a second. It's been confirmed that Vladimir Klitschko was going to be fighting Daniel Dubois. He was thought as a possible opponent.
Oh my God, that's nuts.
No, but they were close to it. But luckily, thank God they scrapped it.
Oh, that's great.
It would have been
that's crazy, man.
a massacre. Would have been a massacre. So Vladimir's 48. He's kept himself in good shape. But if you've not been active for 7 years, the results are not going to be good. What do you think?
I don't think that's a good idea.
Do you think he could come back and beat like guys outside the top 60 at all, or not? Or do you think he's completely gone? What would you expect?
Well, he was a great champion. I mean, he made a lot of defenses, but Anthony Joshua finished him off. Tyson Fury beat him. I mean, and he's 7 years out of the ring. I mean, let's face it, Daniel Dubois is no joke. So he's better. I mean, he was a better boxer than Dubois, but I don't think he's going to be able to keep him off of him.
Now, do you believe that if he was to come back, but just do it on a lower scale, do you think he could beat guys like Manuel Char and people like that?
It's possible, but don't forget George Foreman started his comeback in his late 30s.
Yeah.
And he came back very in a very smart way. He fought, just real journeyman fighters for a long time, and he lost weight. He fought himself into shape. Okay? I mean, he trained. He took his time. He still had his power and his jab. But, he didn't have the speed and the reflexes he used to have, but he changed his style of fighting. Do
you believe, because Vladimir's a lot fitter than what George Foreman ever was when he kept himself in shape, once he came. I believe that he could come back and beat guys in the top 100, but not in the top 40, 30 or 40. Maybe guys that,
I don't disagree with that, but going against a guy in his prime who's a heavyweight champion, I mean, Joe Joyce would give him a hard time.
Yeah, I would say if he is going to come back, he needs to come back on a very low scale, have a couple of fights, then get it out of the system, and then go away. And don't touch a guy in the top 20, 10, 20 or 30. Fight the guys like the Manuel Chars, people like the Journeyman, the people you can beat, the Lucas Brown kind of level, not like the top 20 levels. I mean, if he came back fully fit, he could probably beat just about get in the top 20, but at a push, and I mean at a push.
Didn't he knock Pulev out?
He did, yeah, but that's 12 years ago. I reckon he could still come back and beat a Pulev or a Char. Seriously, once he had 3 or 4 fights, if he comes back, say next year, has 4 or 5 fights in a year, has a fight every month and stays active, he could probably fight himself into some sort of top 50 shape, but no more than that.
To me, it just sounds like pure ego. I don't know what. Does he need the money? Did he run out of money?
No. He's made like £70 million. He's made like 60, £70 million. He don't need the money at all.
Is he broke?
No. It's ego. I think it's ego. Well, we also have to. Yeah. We also have to. Carry on.
No, you carry on. It's okay.
We have to. Yeah, we have to factor in that the guys now are better than when Klitschko was in his title reign. The guys are better now. than what he was. If you took Klitschko in his prime today, he'd be a top 10 fighter, but there's no guarantee he'd win one of the belts.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he'd be top 10.
I'll tell you this: Jake Paul would never get in the ring with him, even if he only had 1 month of training.
But maybe he should fight Jake Paul then.
Yeah.
Circus going.
Put some hurt on Jake Paul.
I mean, he's still fit enough to the point. It's not like he's Mike Tyson, who's 10 years older, who's fallen to bits. Even Vladimir at 58 will be better than Tyson at 58.
Yeah. Do you know Butterbean wants to fight Jake Paul? I saw an article on that.
I did, but he wouldn't win. He wouldn't win, would he? He's too old and out of shape. He's got himself in shape.
Yeah, well, he's another guy. He's another guy that hits like a mule.
Yeah, but he hasn't got. He never. But in his prime, he would have been there. But right, let's move on to our next thing. Derek, we got it wrong. The Derek Chisora is not fighting. Is not fighting who he was meant to fight. Jarrell Miller's pulled out because he's corrupt. No, because of his promoter. Apparently, the situation is Miller's contract ran out, but then what's his name? I can't remember his name. Dimitri Salita says that he's still got a couple of fights left on his deal, so that's collapsed. So his new opponent, this is even worse, is Otto Wallin. Otto Wallin's style is,
They're
what were you going to say?
calling it as like a farewell fight for him, right?
No, he's going to have another fight after. He's going to have another 2 fights.
Well, I read that.
Carry on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I read that article about that, and it was like a farewell fight in Nottingham or something like that.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have many fights left in him where he can make some decent money. So, yeah, he should cash out if he can. But Wallin is not as dangerous to him, I think, as Big
Not,
Baby.
but he has a more awkward style. So then Miller, because Chisora is easy to hit and he's slow now, Wallin can just pot shot him with his jab, keep it on the outside and just win that way, just by keeping it long. You're not going to see Wallin get involved in a war with him. He's just going to keep it on the outside and be sensible.
Right. Yeah, Wallin can punch. He's not a bad puncher, but I think that's a better fight for him. Who do you think would win, Wallin?
I think Wallin will win comfortably just by keeping it on the outside and frustrating him. We've seen the blueprint how to beat Chisora. If you keep it on the outside and keep jabbing him, we've seen Pulev do it. He's not going to do much to it. We saw Fury do it. For example.
Yeah, in either case, I would watch it only because Chisora, you never know what he could do, in one round, how he could change something up. Even at his age, he is a fighting man, all through and through. You got to.
Yeah, but I just don't think a prime Chisora, I'd say, would win. But he's got nothing left, really. I don't think. I think Wallin's too fresh. I mean, Wallin's only had one hard fight in his career, or 2 hard fights, Fury and Joshua. He hasn't got hardly any wear and tear. He's only 32. There's no wear and tear on him, really. I expect him to win.
I agree. I think Wallin is the fresher of the two.
And that's the difference. The wear and tear.
I agree with you on that one for sure.
They really should have chose somebody in his fight if he wants to get to the end. Is choose a guy who's outside the top 40, top 50.
Yeah.
That's what. Whoever wins this should target the winner of Pulev Char, in my opinion. That would have been a better fight. Either Pulev Char would have been a better final opponent. Not this guy. No, Wallin's just too awkward, too fresh. Right, we'll move on to our next thing, which is have a quick look. Oh, I've gone to the wrong bit. Bloody hell. I've got it here, so give me a second. The IBF have ordered Martin Bakul against Effie Jagba, not Martin Bakul against Zhang.
No.
So, they've ordered Martin Bakul versus Effie Jagba, which is a horrible fight. I think Bakul will absolutely annihilate Effie Jagba, who's not deserving of his high ranking, in my opinion.
I agree. That's a disappointment. That's a real disappointment.
I don't think Ajagpa's any better than Jared Anderson. I think he's worse.
Yeah. No, I don't
He's
like.
already been exposed.
I don't like that. That doesn't work.
Deontay,
It keeps Bacoli out there.
yeah.
And if he wins impressively, that's good for Bacoli. But Zhang needs a fight.
Yeah. But a win over Efe Ajagpa doesn't do much for his standing, in my opinion, because we've already seen him exposed by by what the Cuban guy, I can't remember his name.
Who would you pick there, Bacoli or Efe?
Bacoli, easily, by a late stoppage. Ajagpa doesn't have any real power. He has no good defense. He doesn't have a lot of skill. He's a poor man's Deontay Wilder.
Right. Yeah, I would go with Bacoli as well. I think he has better combinations. And as far as power goes, I think.
Yeah. You think what? Can you hear me? I think my sound is gone. Give me
Can you hear me?
Nathan.
Yeah, I can hear you now. My headphones were playing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ajaba's only strength really is his right hand. His jab and his right hand. He does
Yeah. All right.
a lot of combinations.
Okay. We'll move on because we haven't got long left. Vladimir Jalalov is making a comeback in February against a guy called David Spillman. He's a French guy who has 16 wins, 8 losses, and 1 draw. This is just an easy comeback fight for him.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I mean, hold on one second. I got a traffic thing. So run this by me again. I lost my concentration.
Jalalov is making a comeback fight in February against a guy called David Spillman.
What is he coming back from, the Olympics? He didn't lose.
No, he's just having a comeback fight. He hasn't fought for like 4 or 5 months.
Oh, I see. Okay. So who is he against now?
David Spillman, a French heavyweight with 16 wins.
What the hell is that all about?
I don't know. He's just cherry picking people. He's 30 years old. He's not had much of a career really, because he keeps going back to the amateurs, back and forth to the amateurs all the time. He doesn't need any more gold medals,
Yeah, and he's Ukrainian, isn't he?
No, he's from Uzbekistan.
Okay, sorry. Well, I mean, if he really wants to make money, he's going to have to keep fighting as a pro. This gold medal stuff, I mean, I don't know what his thought process is here, but he can have a great career and possibly a heavyweight championship if he just throws down and gets in the mix.
He doesn't. I mean, I think he's won the World Championships 3 times. He's won 2 Olympic Games, 2020 and 2024. He doesn't need any more gold medals. I mean, they should get rid of this silly amateur rule where professionals can go amateur and with gold medals. It's stopping other people coming through, in my opinion. It's wrong.
Right.
There can't be any money in it unless the Uzbekistan Athletic Commission keep giving them loads of money. I don't know.
Right.
But so yeah, this will be a nice, easy defense for him. The same usual crap that he normally produces. Let me move on to our next one. Chris Eubank Sr. has started a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I saw that, but I didn't have a chance to look at it.
I've watched it. It's pretty good. It's where viewers call in. It's called Calling Chris Eubank. People call in. They have their voice messages left, and he answers the questions.
Okay.
And he goes into.
How does he sound?
He sounds good because he's going through all the stuff about boxing. He's giving stuff away, telling people what the thought process is. Of how boxers carry on with stuff.
Well,
it's more.
I'm going to listen to that because he's pretty. He doesn't seem punchy to me, so he would be pretty articulate. I'm assuming.
Yeah, he is. He's very clever. He's not your average boxer. I mean, he's always been more intelligent than most boxers, you know? I think it's just the way he speaks.
I used to love the way he went into the ring and the way he posed and everything. He was a riot.
It's to wind people up. He said he did it to wind people up, and it worked. Just to piss people off.
Him and Nigel Benn had a great rivalry.
Yeah, but the dislike was real. Believe me, I've seen the Four Kings thing on Amazon Prime. They like dislike. Even to this day, they don't like each other. Nigel is the opposite to Chris. Nigel's honest and doesn't give a shit, you know. Whereas Chris just plays games. With Nigel, he's straightforward, you know. There's no messing about. Right, let's move on. You posted something here about A Day of the Fight movie.
Yeah, it looks like a very good film about a boxer. I think, he's got everything going wrong in his life, who is making a comeback. I don't know the whole storyline, or he gets out of prison and he's trying to make money as a fighter. But you have some great actors in it. You have Joe Pesci playing his father.
Yeah.
And you have Joe playing his father. And you have, hold on, I'm driving, that's why I have to be careful. Joe's playing his father. The guy who's playing the boxer was on Broadwalk Empire, an excellent actor. And it has an overall good cast, and it's getting good reviews here in the States so far. I mean, if Joey's in the film, he doesn't take just any film. I know him. And it would really have to connect with him emotionally if he was going to take that movie.
Yeah. Right, we'll move on to a few more things. Conor Benn has been cleared properly now. I was hearing the other day, but on this Boxing Social page, which is the source, it says they're in talks for him having a world title fight before his imminent comeback against Eubank. So basically, they've been talking to Mario Barrios. That is a very wise decision. Look, targeting Barrios, but I don't think he has the experience. I think he needs another year of fights, incremental step-ups. Or maybe Barrios, might not. I don't know. It might be a wrong fight. I don't think.
It's funny is that Eddie Hearn was screaming about that for some reason.
Maybe they see something. They must see something in Barrios that's weak. They must look at his ball and think this guy we'll just turn it off and take it off him. But I even think Barrios, as bad as he is, would probably still beat Eubank Jr. Would still beat Conor Benn, as bad as he is. Conor isn't seasoned enough, to win this fight.
Well, I think Conor would probably be stronger than Barrios, but I don't think he hasn't got the skill. A fighter.
He hasn't got the skill set. But as bad as Barrios is, he does have a good skill set, But
I don't think Barrios is bad. I think he's
a good fighter. Yeah,
he's in the wrong weight division.
Because Eubank is naturally bigger. Sorry, not Eubank. Ben is naturally bigger than him. I think they're thinking that because this guy's in the wrong division, we can take him out of there. If we come in heavy, he won't be able to take the shots. And I don't think Barrios will be able to take the strength. But if he boxes smartly, he'll win. But if you can't take Ben's power, then it's going to be a short night. Could you imagine if they win the world title, they'll be screaming about it. But the fact that he would be fighting a guy, like you say, who's a super lightweight and not a welterweight, screams volumes to me.
Well, here's the deal: if you watch Barrios' last fight, the guy that he fought could have knocked Conor Benn out.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that guy was tougher than Conor Benn, and I
if
thought
it goes to points,
won that fight.
I pick. Yeah, if the fight went to points, I pick Barrios. But if not, if Barrios can't survive the whole 12 rounds, he's going to get knocked out. He just has to survive and win on points. But they'd be mad to turn this fight down.
Look. One of the things about Barrios is that he's a sharp shooter. He's not a tremendous puncher, but he's a very sharp puncher.
Yeah,
and that can cut you. That can blow your eyes up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But there are weaker people in that division. a guy called Norman Jr. or something, Norman something. The WBO, he's the weakest. Not Norman. Norman is the weakest out of all the champions next to Barris, in my opinion. So he can pick of two other easy fighters who are easier than Barris. You know, we'll see what happens. Right, we'll move on to our next thing. Caleb Plant is talking about fighting Edward Belenga.
Well, I think he's a better boxer than Belenga, but Belenga comes in like at 195.
I'd pick Belenga to win, you know, because I think he's got. I think he's a lot fresher than Plant. Plant's not too fresh, you know. He's had some wars. That fight he had with that Covington guy, who was an average fighter, you know, he barely beat him.
You know, you got a point. That's an interesting matchup. I think, from a boxing point of view, Plant is a better boxer, but I think Berlanga is just stronger, and he's just tough. He's tough, and he did tag Canelo a few times. Yeah, I think probably in this one, Plant could get KO'd.
If I was Caleb Plant, I wouldn't even look at this fight. I'd stay the hell away from him. You know,
Yeah.
Caleb Plant's looked vulnerable in his last couple of fights, you know, even though he's won a version of the world title, you know, like, what do you call it, an interim belt. I just don't think he's got it anymore, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he still can fight, let's put it that way. But he's Berlanga is very dangerous. Did they actually sign for the fight?
No, it's not been confirmed yet.
Yeah, well, is it for a belt?
Yeah, WBA interim belt, super middleweight interim title. If it is for a belt. Right, well, next. Okay.
It is what it is. Let's see what happens.
Our last thing is Callum Smith is fighting a Colombian guy called Carlos Galvin. And this is an 8-round fight.
8 rounds, huh?
Yeah. Calvin has 20 wins, 14 losses, and 2 draws. This should be over in a couple of rounds. They're really scraping the bottom of the barrel with Callum these days, you know, just to make sure he can stay winning, you know, which is fair enough after his last tough fight, you know, against Batavia.
Yeah, well, that's true. They got to do the best they can with him. You know, it's all about keeping a career alive. A lot of people get paid with these fighters. You know what I'm saying? It's not just fighters.
Yeah.
But it's also the
What makes me laugh, in Boxing News 24, where I got the source from, or whatever, about the weight, you would have thought the way they're talking about Callum Smith as if his career is dead and buried. He's 32 years old. He's been a unified super middleweight champion. No, there's a lot more left in him. It's just unfortunate for him that the guys at the top of the 175 division are very good fighters. You know.
Well, Callum is a boxer puncher, but he does not have the power to keep him up.
No, if this division was a weak division, he would have won a belt by it. He still could win a belt, you know, if one becomes vacant. But they're talking about him fighting Joshua Buatsi for the WBO interim belt. I think Joshua Buatsi would be too good for him, personally.
I think Joshua Buatsi is much fresher.
Yeah, he's a prime Callum Smith. A prime Callum Smith would beat Buatsi all day. But like you say, he just doesn't have the power. Buatsi doesn't have loads of power, but he has a lot more. He has more skill than Callum Smith. You know, he's an Olympian. Smith would beat Anthony Yarde because Anthony Yarde is finished. He's terrible these days, you know, from his last performance. So I'd say Callum Smith's definitely a top 10 light heavyweight, but nothing more, you know.
Yeah, he's right now. I don't think he's a gatekeeper. I think any fight he'll be in will be interesting, but I don't think he could hold up against the guys
at super middleweight. He was too big for it, right? So therefore, you could find a route to win a world title. But at light heavyweight, if they'd been a bit more, if Eddie Hearn had been a bit more cleverer with the select, you know, the path they took him on, he could have won a world title if they took him a different path, you know, a slightly softer path. That fans don't seem to understand. There's an art to managing a fighter, right, and getting them to win world titles. if you're clever about your matchmaking, anyone you can make any top 20 guy world champion. You know.
Well, these days, that's true. You know, that's very true.
Chris, yeah,
there was one fight with Pete Rademacher
Mm.
that he came off the Olympics and he said he wanted to fight for the championship
Yeah.
right after the Olympics, and he
Yeah.
fought Floyd Patterson.
Yeah.
And he knocked Floyd Patterson down.
All I was going to say was, before we end the podcast, Chris Eubank Jr. did say one thing. He said the bar for winning championships is so low now to what it was 20, 30 years ago. Like when Joshua won his world title after 6 fights, he was still a novice. After 16 fights, you can't be, you know what I mean? You're not the finished thing. Lomachenko was a one-off. Morel, these guys are one-offs, Peterbian. But the average fighter, if you win a world title after 16 fights, that you're not going to keep it long. Right, we'll end the podcast there, and we'll be back next week.
Hey, great, Nathan.
Have a good Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank
you. Take care.
Thanks, Tom. Bye-bye.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.